On this episode of West Chicago Model Railroad, let's take a look at the Chicago, North Shore, and Milwaukee Interurban 2-pack by K-Line by Lionel. Hey folks, Matt here with West Chicago Model Railroad. I appreciate you coming back to the channel today. So we're going to look at the Chicago, North Shore, and Milwaukee Interurban 2-pack by K-Line by Lionel. And why I say that is because this was around the time that Lionel had absorbed pretty much all of K-Line, and some of their products were K-Line by Lionel. They were on, or I should say featured on Lionel's website. They had Lionel SKUs, so they had Lionel product numbers. This one has a Lionel product number as well. So I'm sure you've noticed a few changes to the layout, especially the background. Now I will do a specific video on that. Most likely it'll be a layout update, but long story short, I ended up buying a very large backdrop, and I added an additional upper cloud backdrop to that as well, because it was just, there was some gray wall showing and I wanted to make it a little bit more engrossing, and it ended up turning out very, very well. I'm very happy with it. So there are a couple of little things too. I have a FedEx, Menards FedEx building here as well. A couple little updates. I updated the telephone poles in the inner town area as well. But again, I'll digress. Getting off topic here because I just wanted to give you a quick update. I haven't made a video in a number, well, at least a review video of some type, in probably over a month. And I do apologize that I've had a lot of life things come up and I've just been really busy with other things. However, I am back on track again to start making these review videos. In fact, I really enjoy making these things, to be honest with you. They're fun, they're engrossing, they keep me attuned to the hobby, and they really keep me interested in making more. And I see all of my YouTube trade friends putting out new videos, and I'm kind of, on the back pedal, trying to like, oh, well, I got to keep up with these guys, they're going to pass me up. So I'm back. I'm going to try to make a lot more, and especially before the end of the year, get several new review videos out, because I do have good number of products and fairly new products to review as well. Okay, so back on topic. What we have today are these Interurbans. They are again made by K-Line by Lionel. They aren't your typical Interurbans that they made in the early 2000s. These have a little bit new tooling to them. They are very, very well detailed. I can tell you that. We will go in for a bit of a closer detailed look at them. Now, just to kind of point out, these are not command control at all. These are 100% conventional only. So you're probably saying, Matt, you don't ever buy conventional only stuff. Well, I do make exceptions from time to time, and these Interurbans are one of those. Now, I have been looking for these for a very long time. Anybody who's been to my channel, or just for those that are new to the channel, I'm a huge fan of anything Chicago-based when it comes to commuters, interurbans, subways, Metra. Like, that is kind of like my thing. I like to collect all of those as well, and this one popped up. I had been looking for this one for years. I had it as a saved item in my eBay, and one evening it had, well, they come in the morning, right, when you have saved eBay searches, at least mine do. One evening I just took a potluck chance and I just typed it in the search, and these popped up, and they were a buy it now. They were less than MSRP. They were brand new in the box. When I received them, they were never been opened. I jumped on it right away, and in a matter of 3-4 days I had them, and I am ecstatic. So they are fantastic units. Alright, so let's go over some brief history, as I always do on the Interurbans. Now, if this doesn't interest you, you are more than welcome to jump ahead to the review section or to the running section as well. You won't hurt my feelings. I understand a lot of people aren't interested in the history of things, especially if you're not really from Chicagoland. If you are from Chicagoland, I would advise that you just take a listen to, because there are some really cool things about the Interurbans that would surprise you. Okay, so by 1910, a network of interurban electric railways connected many of the cities and towns of the Midwest. Enlarged street railways, either alone or in short trains, operate over routes that utilize separate right-of-way in rural areas and local streetcar tracks to reach downtown. 3 interurbans once served Chicago's loop. Now, what's an interurban? Well, inter means between, and urban means town or city, so it's a method of transportation between towns and cities in Chicagoland. And during the early, 1900s, basically 1919 to 1963, if you wanted to go downtown Chicago, you would hop on an interurban or you would jump in your car. Now, keep in mind that this was a time before highways were developed, and unfortunately highways were kind of the demise of the interurbans, because at that point it was faster and more efficient to jump in your car, get in the highway, and go where you need to go. But back in the day, it was your best interest to get into a interurban car and take that downtown. Closest to the typical Midwestern interurban was the Chicago, North Shore, and Milwaukee Railroad. Constructed in sections from Milwaukee to Evanston between 1895 and 1908, it did not obtain operating rights through to the loop over the Chicago Elevated Railway's Northwestern line until 1919. In 1926, it opened a new line through the Skokie Valley between North Chicago and Evanston. The original shore route was abandoned in 1955. The rest of the line followed suit in 1963. The Chicago Transit Authority's Skokie Swift Rapid Transit line still follows a short part of the route. Now, the Chicago, Aurora, and Elgin Railway, like the North Shore line, reached the loop via an elevated railroad, in this case the Garfield L, built between 1900 and 1907. This interurban stretched from west from Chicago to Elgin and Aurora. Unlike most interurbans, it was powered by an electrified third rail. When the Garfield L was removed to construct the Congress-Eisenhower Expressway, the line lost its connection to Chicago and operations ceased. Now, surprisingly enough, today the popular Prairie Path Bike Trail uses the old right-of-way of the Chicago, Aurora, and Elgin Railway. And I actually only live about 4 blocks from that prairie bike path, so it's pretty cool. Now, to the south, the Chicago, South Shore, and South Bend Railroad holds the distinction of being the nation's last surviving interurban. Opened in 1909 as a marginal line between the Chicago neighborhood of Kensington and South Bend, Indiana, its success was assured in the 1920s when it was rebuilt and obtained access to the loop via the electrified Illinois Central Railroad. The old familiar orange interurban cars were replaced in the 1980s, and since 1990 the line has been operated by the Northern Indiana Commuter Transportation District. Now, really quickly, Lionel, before this was produced in 2007, they produced a Chicago South Shore version as well, which I am actually looking for right now. So hopefully I can find that one. Alright, so let's go over both of the individual cars. Now, car 160, seen here, can actually be found at the Illinois Railway Museum here in Chicagoland. So, the North Shore line, number 160, is a steel interurban coach designed for high-speed service between Chicago and Milwaukee. It is the oldest North Shore passenger car preserved and the only car at IRM from the railroad's first order for steel interurban cars. It saw nearly 50 years of service, remaining in use until the North Shore was abandoned in 1963. It had been restored to its appearance during the 1940s when it was used on the shoreline between Chicago and North Chicago. It was built by the J.G. Brill Company. That might seem familiar, as in Brill trolleys. Seats about 58. It is 56 feet in length. It is 8 feet 8 inches in width. It's 12 feet 6 inches in height. Weighs about 90,000 pounds. And again, as of 1963 to the present time, it can be found at the Illinois Railway Museum in Union, Illinois. I will post pictures of it at IRM. I am not the owner of these pictures. These pictures were taken from the IRM website, so I will source them correctly. Alright, so let's look at car number 714, which can surprisingly also be found at IRM, and it's been restored to its original 1950s appearance. So 714 is a high-speed steel interurban coach designed for service between Chicago and Milwaukee. It operated until 1963 in daily service in trains of up to 8 cars. Now, shortly after the railroad abandoned its operations, car 714 came to IRM, and it has been restored. Now, this was built by the Cincinnati Car Company, so make a note of that it was actually built by an entirely different manufacturer than our other car was. It was built in 1926. It seats about 56. It is 55 feet in length. It is 8 feet 8 inches in width. It is 12 feet 7 inches in height, and it weighs about 102,000 pounds. Again, this can be found from 1963 to present day at the Illinois Railway Museum in Union, Illinois. So, although the K-Line's representation of both of these cars are identical, in real life they are not identical. They are slightly different builds. Now, they are both obviously interurban cars, but they are slightly different looking. In fact, they were actually built in 2 different years as well. So, alright, so let's go over some of the details of each individual interurban car. So this is 160. This is the powered car, actually. So this one has the dual truck mounted motors, or the powered unit, if you want to say it that way. Now, just really fast, so this has what's called passenger train effects sound. So K-Line, or Lionel, calls it train effects sound. We'll go over that in a little bit. It does have an operating headlight and marker lights. There is interior stream lighting. Again, that's kind of like a K-Line catchword for their lighting that they do along the top. There are detailed interiors, and there are passenger figures in this as well. There are operating metal trolley poles. I'll show you those as we kind of go down the detail. There are separate metal grab irons and steps. There's a metal chassis with underside details, metal safety chains at the end, and then 4-wheel die-cast trucks. Now, how the train effects digital sound works is, again, just to kind of point out, this is a conventionally controlled engine interurban train set, so there are no command controls going on at all. So everything has to be done from the from your transformer, using the whistle and the bell and the throttle. So, and what you do is, if it's moving or if it's at a standstill, if you hit the whistle button, it'll blow the horn, which the horn on this is fantastic, and then it'll start like a passenger sequence effect, kind of like, get your tickets ready, or something about the next stop, and it's supposed to do different things based on whether or not it's moving or not moving. So it's kind of cool, but let's just kind of start here at the front. Again, each one is a different color to match its prototype. Kind of safety chains right here. There's a Mundaline label right here because it was part of the Chicago to Milwaukee line. Here's one of the trolley poles right here. Again, the paint job is really good. There are like small little rivets that you can see as well, which is pretty darn cool. All right, let's move on down. All right, so again, there are passengers in there. I don't know if you can see them or not. They'll be, when I turn it on and stuff like that, you'll be able to do a better job at seeing them. Obviously, it's only halfway through because the area on the left here has these kind of like shaded or like kind of clear-coated windows, or frosted windows, I should say, so you can't see the motor in there. And the way these trolley poles work, again, is they're just manual. They're just on a hook, so they're spring-loaded just like that. So, and you just push it down, lock it underneath the hook, and you're good to go. Pretty simple. But the paint job here is, again, really good. You have right here Chicago, North Shore, and Milwaukee Railroad, and you have the North Shore Line logo right here. Plenty of rivet detail. The trucks are done really nice. No complaints at all. Like, this is, again, it's not an exact duplicate of the prototype, but it's pretty darn close, and it's actually pretty close to scale as well. It might be a tad short. All right, here's the rear of the car. So again, not much going on here. The doors don't open at all, but if you can see it, there is a little tiny hole here, and this is where the dongle or the tether on the other unit connects to. And what's interesting is there's nothing really going on in the dummy unit except for lighting. So my guess is that that tether is there to give it a larger electrical footprint. So when it's going over switches or going along your layout, you have a wider source of power coming into the units that share the power, rather than this thing just doing, the main unit doing all the work by itself. So that's pretty cool. Let's go ahead and take a look at the other dummy unit. Okay, so here is the second unit, the dummy unit. Again, this thing just has lighting in it. That's it. So, road number 714. Here's the tether that plugs into the port that's on the back of the main powered unit, and obviously you just plug that in and then you couple them together, and they're pretty much locked up together without any problems. Again, doors don't open that I'm aware of. As you'll see, will go down. The way the trolley poles work is exactly the same. All right, so here's the side of our number 714 car. Again, just really great job with these rivets. Here's a Chicago, North Shore, and Milwaukee Railroad up here. There's, again, the North Shore Line logo is here. Really cool riveting done here. Cool windows. No complaints here, folks. This is done very, very well. Okay, so here is the end of car number 714. Has the same kind of chains that the front car did. You got your marker lights up here. Other than that, there isn't really much else going on here, but it's a very, very striking paint job. It's very close to what the prototype looks like as well. Let's go ahead and move on to starting this up, hearing some of the sounds, and then we'll run it around the layout. All right, so before we get started and turn it on, I just wanted to go underneath the powered unit just to kind of show you some of the switches and options available to you. So I don't know if you can see this. I'll try to tilt it so you can see it, but right down here is a rail sound switch. Here is where you can lock it in a specific direction, and then the volume pot is here as well, so you can kind of turn that to set the volume. And then if you can see right here, you see parallel and serial, or I should say parallel and series. So this refers to how the motor basically works with the power coming into it. And what happens is if you set it to parallel, you get higher speeds on the top end, so the thing moves much faster. If you set it to series, it gives you more kind of consistent and slow speeds, but it takes power off the top. I'm going to run this in series because I don't race things around my layout, and my layout's not big enough anyway. Like if you had a huge layout, go ahead, set it to parallel, and knock your socks off. But I'm going to run it in series because I have a smaller layout. I usually run things more prototypical as to what their speed would be for the prototype is. So that's a little bit, better for, like I said, for my size layout. Now, again, that's my opinion. You can run it in any way you want, but I just wanted to kind of show you what was available as far as stuff that you could actually turn on or off on the unit itself. There is nothing on the other unit at all. All right, so I already have it turned on. I'm going to go ahead and go through the horn and the bell, and then the horn will give you some randomly generated sound sequences.
Ticket? Tickets, please. Ticket? Have your tickets ready. Please board at this time. The train will soon be departing.
And here's the bell. All right. So pretty cool. Like the sounds are, for a conventionally controlled engine, motorized unit, whatever you want to call it, I would say the sounds are pretty good. The horn is awesome, and I really like those kind of tickets please and all the conductor sounds this has. It really gives a bit more ambience to it besides just running it around with lights on. So for me personally, this is just a really cool feature. The South Shore version also has this Train FX sound package that K-Line has made. So now let's just run around the layout.
Those passengers traveling with baggage, please check them at the quarter station.
So there's one of your idle sounds. If you let it sit for a while, you get the idling sounds. Well, let's go ahead and run it around the layout. I'll stop it at certain places, blow the horn, have it play the sound sequences. I'll try to run it as slow as I possibly can for you. Obviously, it's conventional, so it has to maintain some speed for it to be, full powered and stuff like that. So. Okay, folks, well, that finishes up this review of this K-Line Interurban 2-car Interurban pack from K-Line by Lionel. For me, this is one of these sets that kind of pushes or checks all the boxes for me, right? So, it's Chicago-based, it's a commuter, both of these units still exist in real life. You can go see and walk inside of both of these units at the Illinois Railway Museum, which kind of makes it even sweeter. Again, as I said, like when I first started this review, like I'm not a huge conventional person, but I do make exceptions, and this is probably the very top of the exception list for me. And I would love to have the South Shore line as well. Again, it's the same kind of package with the train effects and stuff like that. It looks a little different. It's the orange color, obviously the orange kind of South Shore line color scheme. It's got kind of more different types of pantographs too. Like, these are like trolley poles, and that one has kind of like actual like spring pantographs on it. But this is an awesome set. I love it. Well worth the money that I paid for it. And if you're looking for something like this and you're interested, you can find them. Just put a search out there on eBay or do your due diligence and research, and hopefully one pops up for you. So now, with that said, folks, again, I want to thank everybody for watching the channel. I would really appreciate it if you hit that like button, and also if you have a chance, go ahead and hit subscribe. It's free, doesn't cost any money, and it kind of shows me that you're engaged with my channel and that you like the content that I'm putting out. That you're basically telling me by hitting subscribe, you're saying, and hit the like button, you're saying, Matt, you got good stuff. I like your stuff. Can you please make more? And I'm going to continue to make more. I do appreciate, everyone's just support. Like in the last few years, I'm now at like over 1,000 subscribers, and I'm heading for that 2,000 subscriber mark. So hopefully it will come sooner than later. All right, folks. Thanks for watching, and you have a great day.